So I can start while the slides are coming up. So we have the three co-chairs for the Open Science meeting on the phone here, Matt Shoup, Kathy Wilson, and I. So we've been sharing the load of putting this together along with a very good organizing committee that's been pushing this forward. As you can see, that the Open Science meeting is something that we really haven't done since 2009, which is the last large opportunity to kind of look at the scope of science results coming out of Arctic Observing. And that meeting was primarily focused on the NSF portion of the Arctic Observing Network, the program as it stood at that time. The idea here was to focus more broadly on all Arctic Observing networks and to really create a forum where we could talk about the scientific achievements that have stemmed from these observing activities. So we've had a lot of meetings over the intervening time. They've talked about collaboration, coordination, planning, lots of important things for getting the network up and running. But there was this feel that there was a need to hold a science-focused meeting where people could really review what's been done, kind of assess the fit and talk about where we might go next, build new collaborations, and identify new directions. So Seattle at the Hyatt at Olive 8, 17 through 19 November 2015, so that's coming right up. If we go to the next slide, please. So the objectives, the top objective is the primary one, really to present and discuss findings and advances resulting from the network, from the set of Arctic observations. And again, very broad net, not just the NSF-AOM, but Arctic Observing cast more broadly. Matt and Kathy, please feel free to chime in too if I'm misspeaking or we want to add anything else. We also want to review the technological achievements, operational achievements of the network. So what has happened, what's in place, what new technologies are there, what developments have occurred. This would be an opportunity to look at the fit of the scientific findings and the achievements operationally and technologically to what have been viewed as both the basic research and the operational or the mission-driven objectives for the network. So how well are we doing relative to where we thought we needed to be? Right, how well are the current activities and findings suiting fitting the objectives that were laid out some time ago in a number of documents, including the various search documents defining the science and implementation plans for the network. And then the other piece was to actually try to put better definition on the Interagency Arctic Observing Network, what we're calling the IAON. There's a bit of an identity crisis about what exactly this is and what its mission is. There's some confusion, and it would be nice to actually start to define that, be more explicit about what we're expecting there. Next slide, please. So we posed a few background questions. These are on the website, really to try to get attendees to think about these things. You can see these. I'm not going to read through them, but they essentially question the things that we've just talked about. There will be room for lots of discussion over the course of the meeting, and the hope is that we can start to make some progress on answering these questions. Next slide, please. So the meeting is really structured in three parts. You heard Tennille talk about Sandy's presentation on the atmosphere. There'll be a number of plenary talks. You can see them listed there. The plenary talks were designed to cover various regimes or sectors of research, and the instruction to the plenary speakers is to provide a broad overview of science achievements in these areas. So not just to stand up and talk about one person's particular achievements or their particular interests, but to try to paint a much broader picture of what that community has been able to accomplish over the
Craig, could I, this is Kathy, could I add one other thing there to the kind of the instruction to the speakers?
Go for it.
I was just going to say, sorry about the rain in the background, that we were also asking the speakers to think about how networks of one kind or another, whether they were networks of monitoring equipment or networks of people enabled the scientific achievements that they were going to be talking about, so that there's a real focus in the plenary session and in the meeting as a whole on the concept of networks of people and networks of instruments to improve scientific understanding.
No, thanks, Kat. That's an excellent point, right? The part of this is, what do we get from having a network that we don't get from just having individual activity in the Arctic? What advances has that enabled? So after that will be an agency panel, OSTP, various federal agencies. I should point out that NSF is the primary sponsor for the Open Science meeting, and they have generously provided funds to move this forward. IOICA will moderate the agency panel. And again, broad overview of science achievements from the various agencies, what their perspective is on how well those achievements have fit their particular agency mission, and hopefully some thinking about the road ahead. Then the bulk of the meeting is given over to a number of parallel sessions, around 11 themes, and you can see the themes listed over there on the right-hand side of this slide. We'll go over the number of abstracts that have been submitted through this. One very novel part of this is that a lot of the time in each of these parallel sessions has been given over to discussion. So rather than just having a short period for question and answer after each talk, there's something on the order of an hour associated with each of the individual sessions for discussion and hopefully collaboration building, identification of new paths forward. Some of the sessions have multiple sittings, terrestrial atmosphere in particular, were large enough to require a couple of different sessions. And if we go to the next slide, please. So when we originally laid this out, we had a larger number of themes, and you can see those listed here in the number of abstracts that were submitted in response to those original themes. You can see that the response has been in general quite good on most of the themes. And if we go to the next slide, please, which is the final one. And this is how the meeting has ended up being organized in terms of parallel sessions, where the two numbers on either side of the slash are the number of talks and the number of posters. We had a number of early career scientists apply to attend the meeting, but they required travel support. Unfortunately, we were unable to generate enough sponsorship by travel support for all the early career scientists who wished to attend. So we lost a number of abstracts that we were unable to support their attendance. So you can see the numbers there. The final numbers are 101 talks and 39 posters. There are a few trickling in, so those numbers will probably go up a little bit from here. But that's where things stand right now. And
all right, thanks for the update. Does any of the co-chairs have anything else to add?
I just wanted to add one other thing and just highlight, although Craig made mention of it, that one of the things we're really looking for in the discussion periods is the development of collaboration among scientists who are funded by different agencies, so that we can start to build kind of the grassroots side of the interagency observing network, started by getting collaboration between investigators and work both grassroots up or bottoms up, as well as top down through some of these processes like IARPIC.
Matt, do you have any thoughts?
I think you did a great job of covering it, Craig.
All right, well, thank you for that great overview, Craig. I'm sure you would field emails or questions to anybody that had something between now and the meeting.
Certainly, yes.